Chiku, and these are the top stories. Governor Alia fumes as assailants massacre 24 in Benue community. Nigerian students face tough times in the United Kingdom as tuition soars by 60%. New deadly virus CCHF spreading in Europe, Africa, Middle East. And EU report restored confidence in election monitoring. Abi Eza Kwesili discloses. Details now. The governor of Benue State, Reverend Father Hyacinth Ijeoma Egwuatu, has expressed shock over the gruesome murder of at least 24 residents at Akpuna village in Bazun, in Baterim, in Ukum local government area of the state. You recall that assailants suspected to be terrorists had on Saturday invaded the village, killing about 24 persons while many others were left seriously injured. Governor Aliyah, who visited the scene on Tuesday, expressed total resentment over the development, saying such cannot be tolerated in Benue State. According to the governor, he intends to lead a new Benue, stressing that he would not accept anything that will dampen the spirit of the people and tarnish the new image of the state. Ali advised the youth in the area to be law-abiding and stay clear of anything that will invite trouble for themselves and their communities. He stated that there were plans to reintegrate the Irites among them in the society and provide soft landing for them to step on and become self-reliant. The governor also warned that any traditional ruler who is found wanting in his duties as a traditional ruler will be considered a misfit and his beads will be removed. Now, many Nigerian students are facing tough times in the United Kingdom, with the naira equivalent of their tuition fees increased by over 60% following the recent move by the Central Bank of Nigeria to unify the nation's foreign exchange rates. Now, about 2 weeks after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu promised to unify the nation's multiple exchange rates, the Apex Bank decided to float the naira at the investors and exporters window of the foreign exchange markets. Since then, the naira has fallen from 471 naira to a dollar to 750 naira to a dollar and 589 pounds to 957 naira to a pound. This has led to about 60% increase in tuition fees for students in the UK. This rise in exchange rate has put more pressure on many Nigerians that are schooling in the UK and beyond. The UK is one of the destinations of choice for many Nigerians, as 128,770 Nigerian students enrolled in universities in the United Kingdom between 2015 and 2022. And this is according to data obtained from the Higher Education Statistics Agency of the United Kingdom. According to the CBN, study-related foreign exchange outflow to the UK rose to $2.5 billion in 2022. Nigerian students and their dependents in the United Kingdom contribute about 1.9 billion euros annually to the UK economy, and this is according to an analysis by SBM Intelligence. Many of the students may now struggle to pay the balance of their tuition fees due to the sharp decline in the value of the naira. Now, in a recent interview with Muda Yusuf, who is the Director Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, actually gave an insight or an incisive analysis of what this may portend for the future of education in Nigeria and what this actually means for all the Nigerians who intend to get away to the UK to study. Let's listen to this brief interview with him. There's a development at the moment, and a lot of Nigerian students are complaining about the fact that compared to the naira, compared to pounds, has become so expensive. They can no longer pay tuition fees. It's increased to about 60%. What do you say to this, concerning the fact that a lot of Nigerians are leaving to the UK for educational purposes, but now these are more stringent measures? Could it be? Is that something that needs to be done as soon as possible?
Well, these are some of the initial challenges of the unification of the exchange rate. But my view is that after a while, the exchange rate will come to a level that is much more tolerable, because right now there's a lot of pressure of demand on the R&D window. That is one. Secondly, I think that even before now, not many of them were getting the foreign exchange at the official window. I know that for sure. I mean, the number of citizens or operators that are able to access foreign exchange at the official window, they are not up to 20%. Most of them are sourcing the foreign exchange from the parallel market. So what you can be comparing is the difference between the parallel market rate then and the parallel market rate now. And from what I know, the difference is not anywhere near the 60%. But that is not to say that government should not do something about the exchange rate. It will get better. A lot is happening already in the oil and gas sector to ensure that we capture all the foreign exchange earnings there. A lot is happening to attract more foreign capital into the economy through FDIs, oil companies, portfolio flows, and all of that. But that will take a couple of months, for those things to stabilize. So I think it's a transitional phase, what we are going through. But more importantly, is for us to strengthen our domestic institutions so that our students will not have any cost to be going abroad to study. We should strengthen them. We should make it easier for them to stay here and study.
And that was Muda Yusuf, who is the Executive Director, Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, former LCCI Director, giving us an insight into that particular development. Moving on to the world news at 12, a former Minister of Education, Obiageli Ezekwesili, has commended the European Union Election Observation Mission, saying he did not trade off electoral credibility. Ezekwesili said the report on the 2023 election surprisingly restored a measure of confidence in election monitoring around the world by not mincing words at all. In a statement she made via her verified Twitter handle on Tuesday, the former minister claimed that unlike its report on Nigeria, observer mission reports were beginning to be cookie cutters that seemed to trade off electoral credibility. She further stated that the report diverged from the global trend and restored confidence in election observation. She wrote, and I read, "The EU in Nigeria surprisingly restored a measure of confidence in election monitoring around the world by not mincing words at all in the European Union Election Observation Mission Nigeria 2023 final report. Also, election observation, as she said, is a valuable tool for improving the quality of elections. Observers help build public confidence in the honesty of electoral processes." She also stated that observation can help to promote and protect the civil and political rights of participants in elections. She stated as well that it can lead to the correction of errors or weak practices even while an election process is still underway. She also said that it can deter manipulation and fraud or expose such problems if they do occur. She stated further that election observation by domestic groups encourages civic involvement in the political process. Following elections, reports and recommendations by observer groups can lead to changes and improvements in national law and practice. In order for us to actually talk about this aspect that Obi Ezekwesili, former Minister of Education, stated via her Twitter handle, I have via the telephone Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, who is a political enthusiast, a social affairs commentator, and as well as the name implies, he is a legal practitioner. Good afternoon and welcome to the World News right here on VOP 90.3 FM. Hello, Barrister Tunji. Hello. Barrister Tunji, can you hear me? Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, can you hear me? Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, can you hear me? All right. While we'll try to get back with Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, let us proceed with the world news at 12 on stories concerning the fact that the heads may roll on investigations concerning the probe of contract aviation during the aviation industry by former President Muhammadu Buhari. Now, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission may have concluded plans to probe contracts awarded by the Ministry of Aviation under the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Now, it was gathered that it is to ascertain that some missing links and also to identify the non-compliance of most of the transactions to the requirements of the Public Procurement Act. Stating further, the twilight of the immediate former administration controversy surrounded the Air Nigeria project of the Aviation Ministry, which many saw as a fraud. VOP News gathered that the Anti-Graft Commission had written to the Aviation Ministry demanding information on various contracts within the period under review. Also, with particular interest in the Katsina airstrip project, which is alleged to have gobbled billions of naira paid upfront without anything to show for it. Also on Wednesday, the project vehicles attached to the contract and other equipment have been shared among the top management staff, signifying the height of abuse of public trust. We've been able to establish contact again with Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid. Barrister Tunji, good afternoon and welcome to the World News at 12. Barrister Tunji, good afternoon and welcome to the World News at 12. Can you hear me? Hello, Barrister Tunji. Okay, while we try to resuscitate that, possibly there is a connection error and he cannot hear us. We will proceed with that particular information. Now, the situation concerning the award of contracts concerning the Kaduna airstrip is the fact that it has raised many dust as management and staff are reportedly jittery over the fear of being sanctioned. However, it is not certain yet if the directive of the ministry has been compiled with, especially coming from the ICPC. Some stakeholders who actually spoke on condition of anonymity described the move by the anti-graft agency to investigate contract awards and other related matters in the ministry as a welcome development. A critical stakeholder privy to the investigation told media agents recently that all was not well within the ministry. Also stated that, in fact, the ICPC is carrying out a far-reaching and diligent inquiry into all contracts awarded by the management and sanction anyone found shortchanging the system. In a similar development, a law firm operating under an Abuja-based NGO, Let's Respect, has written to the Aviation Ministry requesting, under the Freedom of Information Act, on the Katsina airstrip project vehicles contracts executed from overheads from 2022 in December till date. Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, good afternoon, and once again, welcome to the World News at 12. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
I've been trying to establish contact with you. I don't know. I don't know if it's the network. Were you hearing me initially?
I wasn't.
You weren't. Okay, that's basically that's why. So apparently, the conversation I wanted to have with you was a conversation with Obi Ezekwesili. She is a former minister of education in Nigeria, and she said that the EU report has restored confidence in a lot of Nigerians, considering the fact that initially EU reports seemingly used to come from a particular perspective. What's your take on her response?
Yeah, I think in as much as I also believe that EU report is in line with most of the Nigerians are saying.
Okay.
I think the EU was not the first to release a report on this election. We have Nigerians and NGOs and election monitoring team from Nigeria who have done that.
Okay.
They are more or less in the same category. So I don't think we are giving more publicity than that of our home.
Okay.
It appears we are giving whatever comes from the foreign is that our Nigerian own. Yes, I think, like I said, if people who believe that the election was not fair, definitely will be happy with the EU report, and they want to see that what we are looking for. This is what we are. But unfortunately, that's what I'm destroying whatever they say. put or lost it's what it is. A mere report from a particular organization. I don't think that will be enough to put confidence in the minds of Nigeria as regards our election. If that report will be, actual one of the probably that would stop confidence. As it is today, is just what it is.
All right, Barrister Tunche, if I get what you're trying to say, because at some point while you were communicating, there were skips, so I really couldn't hear what you were trying to buttress. Can you reiterate what you just said? Are you saying that it is what it is? Are you saying that Nigerians should just go with the flow? Are you in compliance with what she said concerning the EU report in bolstering the confidence of our election monitoring system? What exactly are you in tandem with?
No, I said I agree with the fact that, look, the EU report is in line with some of the majority of the reports by Nigerian electoral election monitoring teams. Some of these teams release their own report even before the EU. So I don't know why we are giving so much attention to that of the EU, and probably because it's from abroad, and we don't respect our own local report. And I'm also saying that, look, I don't want to agree that will restore confidence in the minds of Nigerians.
Really?
Because, it may not likely be. It will only restore confidence if that will amount to that report will be the one that will determine how the election outcome of the result will be thereafter. Maybe it will be the one to be used to obtain the whatever. So what EU say is not new from what Nigerians already knew and what they already saying, and that's why I said it may not likely restore any confidence in them, except that report will be the basis upon which the election will be obtained. In that regard, they can say, oh yeah, now that we have this is better for us. The report is what it is. It's just a report. It won't change anything.
Okay, but I don't know if you...
Okay. The only thing will change is that they will give if the government is interested in moving for election forward, they look into it, the observation given by them, the comment made by them, the error and those things they highlight or highlighted by them should be looked into and then see how it can be implemented. That's the only thing that can change anything.
Now, you do know that the European Union, it's an external action, but this body was invited to monitor the elections in the February 25 presidential elections, and the Nigerian government actually received grants, right, from the EU. The idea was to ensure that we had a transparent process in the 2023 elections. And a report came out which a couple of persons or critics were not in support of. Some persons were in support of the report, some persons weren't. For Obieze Kwesili, she's saying that there was a multitude in terms of participation of election monitoring. There was, would I say, deliberate participation of the process, that individuals themselves also became observers beyond known groups who tried to actually become observers themselves. Nigerians this time around decided to be part of the process. And she said that based on what the report stated, it had a lot of similarities with other compiled reports on how the 2023 elections went. She stated further that one of the reasons why it feels like our own indigenous report, right, in this part of the world wasn't as possibly extensive or critical in terms of how things were conducted in the elections. They were usually more diplomatic than possibly truthful, which a lot of Nigerians could either resonate with or not resonate with. So in other words, she's saying that the EU report highlighted factors that a lot of Nigerians can attribute with how the elections went. And I'm asking you, do you think that the EU report, like she said, is a bolster for the confidence to be restored in our electoral monitoring process? That's one. Two, will the EU report also encourage our indigenous compilation of election observers? Will it encourage them to be more pragmatic rather than diplomatic on their coverage of election processes or election observation methods? What's your take on that?
I think I would do respect.
Okay.
I believe I've seen some of the report by some of these our local observers.
Okay.
And most of the things they said are most likely in the same line with that of EU, and they say the way it was. It is. For instance,
Yaga.
Yaga Africa.
Yeah, they say the same thing as what EU said. Most of the things they said by EU, probably because they are local, they are not respected by just like EU. You know, we follow whatever comes from abroad, even if we have it in Nigeria. That abroad own is what we see as more prominent. Like I said, the reaction to the reports, yeah, it's based on the person who's making who's reacting. Those who are whose result who are favored by the result will condemn the report, and those who are not favored by it will say is a good one. But for me, generally, from my own observation, the report captures whether the EU or the local most of the local report captures the mind of Nigerians, what Nigerians say, the observation by Nigerians, the reaction by Nigerians regarding the outcome of the result, regarding the errors and the things that happened during that election. So I want to agree that look, the report is a reflection of, is actual reflection of what happened at the elections. But because those who are in government today were favored by the outcome, they will see that report as an anti of government or anti Nigeria, because they were favored by the result. So they don't want to align with a report that condemns their validity or their election. So as far as I'm concerned, but I will not want them to look in that way. When the EU brings its report out, or local whatever who bring their report, they don't see them as criticizing the government. They see them as trying to move the country forward. Look at their observations, look at their comments, look at suggestions, recommendations, see how we can improve on those observations and recommendations for the purpose of future elections. Because this one is gone. It's just you can't change what has happened. Only court can change the outcome of the results. No report can do that. It's only the court that can say, look, based on the evidence before me, this election, this is what happened to the election, this is what happened to the election. But the report is just an highlight or a way of a progress or moving forward in terms of a future election. The EU, they did well, and the local observers, majority of them did well, particularly Yaga Africa and some of them. They all say the same thing with the EU. So as far as I'm concerned, they were not too democratic, so diplomatic in it. I don't want to agree in that regard, because Yaga clearly stated those things observed by EU as well.
All right. Here is also a development. Apparently, a former chief of staff in Rivers State, Chief Rivers State government, Chief Tony Okocha, has disclosed that Ijeoma Wike made it possible for the APC and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to win the state in the last presidential election. He said APC leaders in the state are pleading with the president to concede the ministerial slots for the state to Wike. He said Wike committed huge material and financial support to the poll for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to win. Okocha, who spoke with correspondents in Abuja, said without the influence of Wike, Obi could have swept the state. What's your take on that particular statement by this particular former chief of staff in Rivers State? It's obvious right now with this statement, whether anyone has to interpret it in any way, that there was some influencing that took place in Rivers State in the just concluded presidential election by these avid statements from this former chief of staff. In other words, there was some influencing. Possibly things were not, objectively carried out during the elections in Rivers, during the presidential election. And so if there was an influencing done, that it beholds the president to do the needful in giving Wike a ministerial slot. That's basically what this statement is saying. What do you have to say about it?
Yeah, what do you expect the former chief of staff to the governor to say? He needs to support the governor. That is a political
don't you think the statement he made is implicating? Is it not implicating already by the statement he made, trying to solicit support from the president for his principle? Isn't it implicating?
Implicating in what manner?
By saying that Wike helped Tinubu win elections in Rivers, otherwise Obi would have won that election. By the way he phrased it.
Yes, that's correct. If you are saying he's trying to tell the influence of Wike in Rivers State. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to say, look, if not for the influence of Wike in Rivers State, if not for the attitude of Wike in Rivers State, and when I say attitude here now, we all know what happened. What happened in Rivers State was not the proper election, as far as I'm concerned, because we know how it happened. We know what they did. We know what Wike. So what he's saying, that if not for that attitude or character exhibited by Wike and the way and manner things were done in Rivers State,
Chadu may not have been able to win in River State. That's the reality. That's correct. As far as I'm concerned. It's except we are deceiving ourselves. If not for that character, that manner, that the way and manner things were done in River State, because as far as I'm concerned, like I said, they didn't repeat. I'm not sure there was any proper election in River State. Just the way they if not for him, probably they would not have been like that manner. It would have been normal election, and then they probably actually would not win. And that's what I think. It's just like the interpretation by what you are saying. That's an indictment that look, but he did not tell you it was a maneuver. It was manipulated. He told you. He just said that if not for his
intervention support, yes.
Support here means that if not for that, he's on the side of Asiwaju, the current president may not have won the election. That's the reality. That's the truth. There's a difference between whether there was a proper election in River State or whether or not that attitude or that character exhibited by former governor of the River State, Wike, Asiwaju to win the election. That is the reality. It's
all right, Barrister Tunji Abdulami, thank you so much for taking your time right here with us on the World News at 12. I sincerely appreciate your contribution.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. Now, still on the World News at 12, we do have this report whereby concerning health, there is a rampant disease or virus rather on the spread. A deadly virus known as Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever, feared to be the biggest threat to humanity, is already running riot across Europe, Africa, and the Middle Belt. Now, the Mirror reported that CCHF broke out in Iraq and Namibia, and there have been cases in Spain as well, with death recorded in Pakistan. VOP News reliably gathered that the virus is adversely gaining acceleration by climate change and an urgent health warning has been issued. The World Health Organization disclosed that the virus spreads through ticks and the disease is caused by naira virus. It further said it has a fatality rate of between 10 and 40%, and that sources speaking to the British Parliament Science, Innovation and Technology Committee revealed it was highly likely there could be cases in the United Kingdom. During the hearing, James Wood, head of veterinary medicine at Cambridge University, says CCHF could find its way to the UK through ticks at some point. Also, according to the Mirror, the disease is feared to be expanding out of its usual territories and moving towards the likes of Britain and France because of climate change. To wrap up the World News at 12, here again are the top stories. You heard that Governor Alia fumes as assailants massacre 24 in Benue community. Nigerian students face tough times in the UK. Tuition fees soar by 60%. New deadly virus CCHF spreading in Europe, Africa, Middle East. EU report restored confidence in election monitoring according to Abi Ezekwesili. And that is a wrap on the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Wachuku. Good afternoon. Thank you for listening. Up next is Matters with Ikami Judah.